In the show Friends, Jack and Judy are the parents of the main characters, Ross and Monica. At the beginning of the show, Ross is married to Carol and they have a son named Ben. Him and Carol later get a divorce, which is noted by two lines going through the marriage connector bar. Later in the show, Ross has an on and off relationship with Rachel and they have a little girl named Emma. Ross and Rachel were not married at the time they had Emma, so we use dash lines to indicate that. Monica marries Chandler and they are unable to have kids on their own, so they adopt a set of twins, one boy, one girl, from a woman named Erica. The upside down Y shape indicates fraternal twins, and the dashed lines in brackets indicate adoption. The lines drawn from the twins to Erica indicates that she is their birth mother. We do not know who their biological father is. For this pedigree, the trait we are looking at is brown hair. Individuals with this trait are shaded in. Jack, Ross, Monica, and Chandler all have brown hair. The individuals not shaded in do not have this trait. Baby Jack and Erica have question marks because they are born in the very last episode of Friends, so their phenotype for hair color is unknown. An autosomal dominant trait is one that occurs on one of the 22 numbered chromosomes, not on a sex chromosome. Dominant alleles always mask recessive alleles and are expressed as a phenotype. This trait could be an example of an autosomal dominant inheritance because the genotype for each individual matches up with the phenotype, the trait that is expressed. An autosomal recessive trait is one that occurs on one of the 22 numbered chromosomes as well, but it is masked and not expressed if a dominant allele is present. The trait is only expressed when there are two recessive alleles present. Brown hair could be an example of an autosomal recessive inheritance because the genotype for each individual matches up with the phenotype, the trait that is expressed. An X-linked dominant trait is one that occurs on the X sex chromosome. X-linked dominant traits are more common in females. Dominant fathers will pass on their X chromosome with the trait to their daughters, and their sons will not be affected unless the mother is also dominant because the dads pass their Y chromosome to their sons. Because all of the genotypes and phenotypes work out, brown hair could be an example of a mode of X-linked dominant inheritance. An X-linked recessive trait is one that occurs on the X sex chromosome. X-linked recessive traits are more common in males because they have one copy of the X chromosome and one Y chromosome. In other words, in this mode of inheritance, the son will express the phenotype that the mom expresses. Because all of the genotypes and phenotypes match, brown hair could be an example of a mode of X-linked recessive inheritance. Y-linked traits occur on the Y chromosome and can only be passed from father to son. We know that brown hair cannot be a Y-linked trait because Monica has brown hair and her genotype would have to have two X chromosomes.